What's good, YouTube? So I am back with the update to my Invoked Blue-Eyes Colossus deck profile. So it is Invoked Blue-Eyes with a splash of the Colossus engine via Nemesis Corridor. If you missed my deck profile, hopefully I posted it yesterday and got it out and hopefully edited this one as well. And you guys are watching it. So if you want an in-depth analysis, card by card, definitely check out the other video, but this video is going to be how to play. So I'm basically just gonna show you the God board, almost God board. Obviously, the full God board would I feel have more Blue-Eye starters, but this is just if we have a starter from each of the engines. The deck is honestly pretty simple, very straightforward. It reminds me of the old Invoked Dogmatica Shadow deck, which I used to be a huge fan of, which is why I feel like this deck is basically a successor to that deck. But yeah, so it's basically the Blue-Eye stuff with the typical end board with the splash of toxicity. Because Thunder Dragon Colossus, he is Droll on legs. He prohibits your opponent from adding any card from the deck. So it's a one-sided Droll. With the upcoming meta, I just feel like it's just a super powerful card. And with like rogue decks such as Blue-Eyes without Primite, it honestly just makes his ceiling a lot higher. Yeah, Thunder Dragon is a bit toxic. There is a reason he was banned for the longest time. But yeah, so it is Blue-Eyes with a splash of toxicity with the Thunder Dragon package. And in case you're wondering why prohibit your opponent from playing, why play cards that make your opponent miserable? Well, the answer is actually quite simple.
Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
So again, we have one starter from each of the engines. We're gonna go ahead and start with the normal summon Alistair. So it is 2025 and we are still normal summoning Alistair the Invoker. You love to see it. So go ahead and normal summon Alistair. He does the typical stuff. He grabs this invocation from our deck to our hand. From there, we can go ahead and link off Alistair, sending him to the graveyard. Spirit with Eyes of Blue can go ahead and grab us our Mausoleum of White. From there, we can go ahead, activate our Mausoleum of White. We can go ahead and target our Spirit with Eyes of Blue. That's going to go ahead and send Big Blue, Blue-Eyes, White Dragon from our deck to the graveyard. So Blue-Eyes, White Dragon goes to the graveyard. We need to have him in the graveyard because now we're going to go ahead and use Spirit with Eyes of Blue's effect. He's going to pitch himself. He's going to go ahead and normal summon our Blue-Eyes, White Dragon to the field. So now we have Alistair and Spirit in our graveyard, so we can go ahead and banish them with Invocation. So go ahead and special summon our Invoked Macabre. We now have an Omni Negate and we're officially nib-proof under 5 summons as well. Now we can go ahead, put Invocation back into our deck, send Alistair back to our hand, and we still have Spirit with Eyes of Blue banished, which is important because now we can go ahead and special summon our Nemesis Corridor. In case you guys don't know what he does, you can target one of your banished monsters except himself, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, shuffle that target into the deck. He gets special summoned and we send Spirit with Eyes of Blue back into our extra deck. Anyways, now we can go into our Thunder Dragon Colossus, the man of the hour, the man of the show, the reason for this deck profile on video. In case you don't know, this card was on the ban list for such a long time, so a lot of the new players don't really even know who he is. So this card states must be either fusion summon or special summon. During the turn, a Thunder monster's effect was activated in the hand, which we just did with Nemesis Corridor. Then we can go ahead tribute one Thunder effect non-fusion monster. So we're gonna go ahead special summon him by tributing our Nemesis Corridor. And now that he is on the field, again, this is a one-sided Droll Lock Bird because it states cards cannot be added from the main deck to your opponent's hand except by drawing them. If this card will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can go ahead and banish one Thunder monster from your graveyard instead, aka our Nemesis Corridor. So he has protection and again one-sided Droll Lock Bird. Right away we have a Omni Negate slash banish and then a Droll Lock Bird slash monster beater. Look at this lineup, pretty crazy. 2025. Alistair is back in our hand. Now we can go ahead off to the races to our typical Blue-Eye stuff. We're gonna go ahead and normal summon our Sage with Eyes of Blue. Sage is gonna go ahead and grab us our Maiden of White. Again, typical Blue-Eye stuff. We can go ahead and send Maiden of White to the graveyard. That's going to go ahead and place our True Light face up on our side of the field. We can activate True Light, getting our Wishes for Eyes of Blue set on our side of the field. From there, we can go ahead and activate Wishes, pitching one of our blank cards in our hand. We still have one left plus Alistair. So Wishes for Eyes of Blue is going to go ahead and grab us our Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons and Effect Veiler. Or if you wanted, you can grab Effect Veiler and Majesty of the White Dragon. So it really depends what you want to do. Do you value the pop or do you value having an extra body on board? I'm going to just go ahead and get Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons to my hand along with Effect Veiler. Then I'm going to go ahead and banish my Wishes for Eyes of Blue from the graveyard, attaching my Neo Blue-Eyes Ultimate Dragon to our Blue-Eyes White Dragon. Then we can go ahead and utilize these two, sending all these to the graveyard and go into our first Blue-Eyes Spirit Dragon. Go ahead and put him in the extra monster zone, why not? So another key thing you want to remember, you always want to use Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons after doing all your stuff because Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons does lock you into dragon monsters. And for some reason, Thunder Dragon Colossus is not a dragon monster. He is a thunder monster, so you will not be able to go into him after you use Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. So that's just something to remember. One of the key intricacies of this deck. I know for sure if I did this, half of my comments would be like, you cannot do this. Activate Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. That's gonna go ahead and grab us our second Blue Eyes White Dragon from our deck, special summoning itself from the deck within our deck of bricks. Then our Maiden of White can go ahead and special summon itself from the graveyard because a Blue Eyes was special summoned. From there, we can go ahead and utilize those two and go into a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. So we have two Blue Eyes Spirit Dragons. Since we're nib proof, honestly, if you want to step this out further, if you don't value the graveyard negate, which honestly, I really don't. Obviously, it's very matchup dependent. If you know what you're going against and you knew the graveyard negate would come in handy, you could wait to do it. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead, get a little greedy, bounce that off, and go into my Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Then I'm going to go ahead, bounce the second one. And that's going to go into our Crimson Dragon. So Crimson Dragon gets special summon. We can then use Crimson Dragon, targeting our Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, putting itself back into the extra deck. And that's going to go ahead and special summon our Stardust Cypher Divine Dragon on the board. So that's pretty much it. That's what we got. We can go ahead and put this in the extra monster zone, by the way. Put down the extra monster zone because you want to have two empty spots over here. When we eventually utilize True Light, if you wanted to special summon Blue Eyes, or if you want during your opponent's turn, you can go ahead and get a Majesty of White Dragons, or another copy of Wishes for Eyes of Blue if you didn't want to follow up. So it really depends. Or you can just keep these spaces open so you can special summon Blue Eyes, which then gets you Maiden again. But with just this board, let's see. We have the negate / pop. We have an Omni negate. We have a negate / banish. Could be an Omni negate, depends what your other card is in your hand. But for now, it's just a monster negate / banish because we have Alistair. Then we have the Droll on legs right here with Thunder Dragon Colossus that also has a bit of recursion because he can protect himself. So again, very powerful end board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions. Very powerful interruptions as well because this comes with the pop, this comes with the banish. And again, having a walking Droll is really powerful with an effect failure, obviously a 1-for-1 trade. And if you did have something else, it could be another hand trap. You could just keep Alistair in hand for the follow-up turn. That way, since we were able to put Invocation back into the deck, we could go ahead and normal summon Alistair again and just repeat the whole process all over again and create a second Invoked Macabre. But really up to you guys. But as you can see, extremely powerful end board. What do you guys think? Do you guys enjoy this deck? Do you like seeing stuff like this? I honestly have not seen anybody else do this deck profile. If you guys are aware of anyone else, I would love to see their content to see if the deck is even viable. Is it worth having the extra copies of Nemesis Corridor in the deck where you could be having hand traps? Let me know. I guess you could technically just substitute those copies and just have Droll. But again, I do love thinking outside the box and I just like playing stuff different than what everyone else is doing. So it's my way of spicing up Blue Eyes, which is pretty much a very solved deck at this point. But if you guys want to see more of this deck, maybe if you guys want to see test hands or more combo guides, let me know. Or if you want to see other spice that I did think of adding to the deck as well. Hint, hint, it is the Albaz engine. A very small engine as well, but it can fit and make this board a little more toxic because obviously you would have the Dragon Lock with all of this stuff as well. But yeah, leave a comment if you guys are interested in that stuff. But I think that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.